Hey everyone, it's Kong again with another episode of Should You Summon. As always, I'm going to be presenting high-level overviews to help you decide whether this banner is worth your hard-earned vouchers and crystals. This month, we've got the long-awaited launch of two more actual Langrisser characters, Ricky and McClaine, originally from Langrisser IV. This banner will run for the duration of the monthly update from October 13th to November 2nd. If you're a calendar aficionado, you may have noticed that's only 3 weeks. In China, the entire update was only 3 weeks long. We haven't had a 3-week update on global, so some people are naturally suspicious that Zilong may try to sneak an extra week of content in here, but I don't think so. We're getting the Hopes and Dreams SP Lotto immediately with this update, and that usually arrives on the second week and lasts for 3 weeks, so it looks like everything will line up to wrap up on the second. Anyway, Mushroom Kingdom, here we come. First up we have Ricky. Ricky is basically just a bulky fighting man. Kind of like a mix of Autocrato and Lewin, I guess. His talent gives him a boost to his attack, and lets him choose a cardinal direction to face, so up, down, left, or right. When he's attacked from his selected direction, he takes 30% less damage, heals after combat, and deals an additional 10% damage if he has his unique helmet. He also gets +2 mobility, which, due to timing and cooldowns, can basically always be active after his first turn. His 3-cost skill layers a couple of additional passive buffs onto this direction mechanic. Enemies in the selected direction have reduced crit rate, and allies up to 3 blocks behind Ricky's line get +15% attack and int. When used as an active skill, this 3C is a 3-line AoE that makes affected enemies only able to move in straight lines, and they take fixed damage. He also has a physical guard that makes him immune to stun, and a ranged attack that heals all allies and lets melee soldiers attack with him, and he has access to Sand Sea Mercs, Guardian Infantry, and Phalanx, bulky boys. He's a member of Yles Legends buffed by Landius and Sigma, Protagonists buffed by Matthew and Emperor Lavina, and Legion of Glory buffed by Ledin, Elwyn, and Grenier. For bonds, he doesn't unlock anyone else's bonds yet, and he needs Rachel for his own defensive bond and Landius for his attack bond. For content, obviously he's mainly intended for PvP. He's not going to be a competent standalone tank, but he could bring his guard skill in a pinch in much the same way Autocrato or more rarely Lewin bring theirs to delay an opponent with a physical team comp. Similar to Autocrato, Ricky brings a supportive aura of sorts to the table, and some enemy mobility disruption as well. He's not going to carry the team, but he's the kind of unit you'll have the option to deploy if you're already running a turtle style and just want to make your team even more annoying to crack. For availability, we already know that McClaine is slated to return on a raid-up banner, so while we don't have confirmation of Ricky's reappearance yet, it's pretty safe to assume it'll be on a Destiny banner. That's how things usually go anyway. It's rare for both characters to get their comebacks on raid-up banners, but it has happened. So we'll know more before the banner disappears, so I'll post and pin a comment when we find out for sure. Okay, next up we have McClaine. McClaine is a bulky, terrain-manipulating water assassin. His terrain effects remind people of Sage of the Trees, and I've heard him affectionately nicknamed Sage of the Seas, which is just great. His talent gives him attack and defense when he's in water, obviously, and it also makes his AoE skills drop 2 turns worth of water tiles. Now this is at 6-star only. Anything less than that and his tiles only last for 1 turn. So if you're using him, you really want him to be 6 stars. Anyway, his tiles make everyone who's not flying or aquatic spend 1 more mobility to move across them. Unlike Sage of the Trees, they don't also have that friendly move again side effect, it's really just the mobility reduction on these ones. His 3-cost skill gives him a revive if he's on water, lets him target himself, a water, swamp, or depths tile, or a tile already affected by his terrain, and splash some minor AoE damage in a ring around it. The real purpose of this is just to create more tiles. This skill then becomes a guard ignore with increased crit rate. After he hits someone like this, every enemy in water takes fixed damage. His other unique skills are a 3-line AoE that has a chance to freeze enemies on water, and a skill that splashes water around, then lets him act again. He's a member of Yles Legends buffed by Landius and Sigma, Meteor Strike buffed by Zerida and Epsilon, and Strategic Masters buffed by Ultimuller and Lanford. For bonds, he doesn't unlock anyone else's bonds yet, and he needs Werner for his defensive bond and his sister Mariandel for his attack bond. For content, McClaine is another obviously PvP-focused unit. As a bulky assassin with a revive, he's actually a threat. He's a solid unit overall, but his stonks will rise and fall depending on the nature of the meta. According to our good old friend Ding, McClaine becomes strong in a meta that doesn't have as many magic damage threats to easily take care of him. If our meta evolves differently and people adapt to be able to pick him off from range, or clear his tiles reliably, then he might not make as big of a splash over here. For availability, as I mentioned earlier, McClaine is going to be coming back on a raid-up banner alongside the Transcender. That'll be 2 full major updates after the 4.0 anniversary update, so we're probably looking at late February to early March for that one. Okay, so let's move along to the notes for Noobs. Ricky doesn't do bonds, he does the bulky boy gimmick slightly worse than characters we already have, and he looks annoying. I'd say he's skippable for 99% of players. McClaine is another powerful DPS option for PvP players. I don't think he's on the must-include in every box tier with the likes of Epsilon, Watham, and Lucretia, but he is solid, and most aggressive PvP players will probably want to secure a copy. If you're dedicated to a more defensive style, then you'll have less room in your box for DPS, and you might not be able to squeeze him in. Finally, just my usual reminder about upcoming banners. Okay, so now we're entering into 1, 2, 3, 4 punch territory in terms of upcoming banner quality. After McClaine this month, we've got the Gintama crossover with 2 strong characters next month, followed by the Annie and Lightbringer banner the month after that, and the 4.0 update with new Zerida and new Lucretia after that. Next up in this abbreviated 3-week update, we should be getting a great raid-up banner featuring Ironblood Commander and Lucretia, both top-tier units. That should be running alongside the ancient old classic Bernhardt, Elwyn, and Leon banner, so next week is Empire's Honor Week. The week after that, we should be getting a Destiny banner with the Knight of Mystery, Archon of the Moon, and Virash, as well as another recurring banner featuring Illustrial, Cherie, and Rosalia. Anyway, that's it for this episode, so let us know on the Discord or in the comments below whether you're going to try your luck summoning either of these heroes, and which one you want the most. I think my plan is to summon until I get 1 copy of McClaine, then bounce. I can always pick up Ricky on his presumptive Destiny banner later, and I'm hoping I'll be able to keep a big chunk of my stockpile for the rough months to come. Thank you so much for watching, I wish you all the best of luck, and I will catch you in the next Should You Summon. Extra special thanks, of course, to our Langrisser tier channel members for generously supporting the channel directly. So shout out to Levitt, Derek, Kate Soon, Jared Portela, Jerome Meyer, Shara Ilimirius, and Harambe for your continued support. Thank you, everyone.